I'd like to welcome everybody to this week's podcast brought to you by Heartland Preservation Society. I'm sitting at the Recreation Bar and Grill in downtown Lewiston, Minnesota. To my right is John Nina, local historian.
Thank you, Mike.
To my left is Phil Thomas, manager of Lewiston Hardware Hank.
Glad to be here.
You bet. And now, Phil, you're actually an Altura native.
Yes, I am. I was I was born in Rolling Stone. Moved to Altura when I was 4. I was gone for about 20 years, and I came back to open the Hardware Hank store. That's been over 20 years ago.
20 years, and time goes fast,
Yes,
Phil.
it does.
So during that 20 years, Phil, obviously you've married
Yes.
local gal.
No, she's from north of Minneapolis.
So you had to find a girl from out of town
Yes,
like I had
I
to
did.
do.
Yes,
Gotcha.
I did.
Gotcha. and now you have some family, Phil?
Yes, I do. I have two sons and a daughter.
All right. And quickly, your kids, they go to Lewiston School?
They all did. Yes, my son has been out for about 11 years. My daughter's been out since 2012, and my youngest son Trent graduate this May.
So you're going to almost be an empty nester.
Yes,
then,
I
Phil.
am. I don't know what to do.
We're going to find you something to do, Phil. Again, on my right, John. John is a local area historian. John, you've been in this community your whole life.
Forever, yes.
What?
Yes.
Tell me your recollections, John.
Well, the community has changed a great deal since 1951 when I was born, and my recollection goes back to about 1954 when the community was 750 people. It's now 1,620. A great deal of growth occurred during the 1970s. It was a very good time for this community, and I think that there's a possibility of very good things in the future, in the near future, especially with some of the things that you're doing, Mike, in the area to what would we say?
Grease the wheels, maybe, John?
That's what I was looking for, but also you're spearheading this movement toward a vision of hope for this community.
The word hope is critical to what we're trying to do here. The two words that we want to focus on are hope and pride. The community of Lewiston has always been a working man's community. When something needs to happen, the local business people like yourself, Phil, John,
Exactly.
you guys get up, you get it done. And there's some things on the horizon here that we can foresee. And I think we have a chance to make a difference here, guys. Now, John, I know also you have a great passion with railroads.
I do.
I'm looking at a railroad.
Yes, and you're looking at the site of the
Right out
original Lewiston Depot, which was at the corner of Main and Fremont Streets.
So at that depot, that was the hub for almost Winona County.
It was the center for this portion of Winona County. It certainly was. In 1863, when the railroad got this far and the depot was established here, there was a settlement out 1 mile south called New Boston. Seeing that New Boston was not going to have much of a future, the postmaster from New Boston hooked his building to a pair of oxen, or a herd of oxen, and pulled it from New Boston down what's now Fremont Street, and the building is still here. It's behind this one.
Really?
Yes.
Well,
And the post office came here, and at that time, the railroad named the station stop Lewiston after Jonathan Lewis, who was considered a very honest man. The other people all tried to raise their land price, and he knew that the railroad would be good for this portion of the county. And so the railroad established an elevator, which until recent years was directly across here as well. The Farmers Elevator in Lewiston was owned by the Winona and St. Peter Railroad initially, and then Chicago and Northwestern.
Well, the railroad history is very deep. What I like to think with the railroads, do not have near your knowledge, John, but when I think of railroads, I think of the community with agriculture and shipping grain and lines and lines and lines of cars. The railroad was the lifeblood of the communities back in the day.
Yes, it was, and you have to remember that most of the goods that were purchased by local people arrived here by rail because there were no highways.
Definitely.
And so there were no large trucks. Everything came by rail, virtually everything.